All right, we're going to do a deep dive into spinnerbaits because I know a lot of people don't know a whole lot about them. They just buy one off the rack and they just throw it. But you got so many options. Uh, that's why I make my own. So first we'll start off, we'll look at the different kinds of heads and the weights. This is just a little, this is what they use to make a mini-me. It's called a hidden weight head. You got that weight back here in a little bitty body. The only downside to these is that light wire, because after you use them for a while, this is what happens to them. They'll bend out and you'll straighten, and they'll break right there. It's inevitable. But with these little bitty bodies, even though they're heavy, the light wire is just about a must. I don't think if you use heavier wire, it would be that great of a deal, that good of an idea. But so anyway, that's one type of head. All right, then you've got your more conventional bullet type head. A little bit heavier wire. This weighs an ounce. I mean, you've got little lighter weight things if you want to use them, but I don't understand why anybody would want to, because they don't ride they ride so high in the water column, unless you're fishing extremely shallow water. They're just not practical. And I hear all the time people complain about, I never catch fish on spinnerbaits. I don't ever do good on spinnerbaits. Well, probably the biggest single reason is you're using the wrong ones. You're using too light of ones. You're not getting them down. You're not getting them closer to the fish. And I'll say this for the millionth and 1th time. The closer you get your bait to the fish, the more fish you're going to catch. That's just, it's just logic, It's not an opinion, it's just logic. So anyway, that's another type of head. Sometimes I will make these up and use them. I'll put bigger blades on them and use them in shallow, real shallow water, where I can wind them real slow in colder, shallow water. Works really well. All right, this is the big one. This is an 1.5 ounce head, 045 wire, and you can fish these comfortably. 15 feet deep if you want to. I've done it before. Caught a lot of fish doing it. Caught fish last year doing it, and the year before. They were positioned out on an old road bed that topped out at about 13, 14 feet. Dropped off on both sides of 22, 25. I just take this thing, throw it as far as I could, let it sink to the bottom, start winding it in. And when you start winding it in, even if you wind it pretty fast, it stays deep. And I was catching the snot out of them. So that's another thing. So that kind of covers the heads, different kinds of heads. Then you have all of this different kind of skirt material. You've got old living rubber, then you got all these silicone skirts, different colors. So you can buy your own heads, you can make your own skirts, you can customize spinnerbaits however you want to make them. That's what I've been doing for, God, close to 40 years. And it's just a lot more fun, and it's so much more rewarding when you go out and catch a bunch of big bass on something you made. You dreamed it up, you put it all together, then you took it out and just kicked their butts with it. And it's not that hard to do. I mean, you've got all these different skirt possibilities. You have all this skirt material. You got all this kind of flashaboo, all this, and like I say again, you got any kind of, you can make anything under the sun. But you've got all this fancy skirt material, flashaboo and marabou and all that stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Like I say, then you got the old living rubber, which hardly anybody ever bothers to use anymore because they have a tendency after they dry, they stick together and it's really aggravating. But this is just stuff I've had for years and years and years. But making your own skirts, now that's the tricky part. I have this little tool that I bought, oh gee, 25 years ago maybe, and it's not too hard to make a skirt. I got to find one little thing before I can make one. Now here's some of the other spinnerbait hardware. This is good quality ball bearing swivels, all manner of sizes of clevises. Split rings in case you need to change a split ring on a ball bearing on a swivel. Then you have all these little balls that you use for separating the blades and the clevis. And then I use some little red ones I put on there for color. And then, well, that's the wrong one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Then you've got all your skirt collars, different colors. But we're going to make a skirt and do it just in real time and show how easy it is, provided you have a good skirt making tool. There are some others. You can't get this little puppy anymore. I don't know why it didn't go over good, because it's awesome. But here's what you do to make a skirt. You close that thing up, and you got your collar. You put it right there, slide it down, you open that up, and you got your skirt material. I've got 3 layers of blue glimmer with black fleck in it. Then I got a chartreuse one, and because I like red, I like that. And then you can just take it, and to make it easier, I take like a business card and cut it up, and then I take it and I roll this up real small. Then I take it, shove it into there, pull it through, leave one side longer than the other, close it back, pull it off, and I get my scissors and the tabs where they're together. You just cut them, and turn it around and do the other end. And you get one more, and boom, you got a skirt. About 90 strands all in all. Works good for the bigger spinnerbaits. As you can see, these are the finished products when you put all the pieces together. That's a number. This is a double Colorado, 2 1/4 ounces. And these trailer hooks, I misspoke when I was on the thing the other night. These are Matsuo trailer hooks, 3/0. I also use Gamakatsu 3/0 trailer hooks. And the way you put the trailer hook on is you got this tubing. I buy a roll of clear tubing like that, or you can get some of this red, and you just cut off a little piece and you slide it. This is clear, so it's harder to see, but you slide it over the eye of the hook, then you slide that over there, and then you take a little tab that you can get a hole punch, you can get a coffee can lid, punch them out, and then you put that little tab over there to keep it from coming off. And there you have a fish catching machine. For those that have never heard it before, well over 400 bass, over 5 pounds on these spinnerbaits with these big old blades. So you got, this is a double Colorado, this is a tandem willow, same thing, same deal, same weight, same head. Just, and you can play with the blades however you want to play with them. You know, you can make them like that. You can make them all chartreuse. You can mix chartreuse and white. And the little mini-me, you got different versions of it. You can make it a double Colorado, you can make it a tandem willow, or if you want to, you can make a double willow. I'm not much on double willow. I don't know why, I'm just not. Never been one of my favorites. But, and again, I do not use plastic trailers on my spinnerbaits, ever, anymore, ever. I don't want anything hanging back here beyond this trailer hook. And I'm gonna use a trailer hook. And in spite of what people say, if you watch what you're doing, you're not gonna hang up any worse with a trailer hook than you would without one. I don't, but to see that, my blade doesn't come back beyond the trailer hook. That's a no-no, because they'll come up and they'll grab that blade and they'll yank it right off. Had it happen too many times before I figured this junk out. Now see, that blade hangs back about a ½ inch, but it's so big there's really not much you can do about it. But if they get that blade, they're gonna get that hook. But what you don't want is the blade hanging way back here in a rig like that, where say you're not using a trailer hook and your blade's way back there. Just not a good deal. Now, talking about blades, you've got all kinds of blades. And this is my skirt box for skirts that I've already made up. Alright, let's put this back over there. Put this tool over here. And the blades, this gets crazy, because you've got big old huge blades like this. That blade, I don't know what it weighs, but it weighs, I don't know, it weighs 3/4 of an ounce for sure. Then you've got big blades like that. You've got Colorado blades, all different shapes and sizes, colors. See, those are little number 4 blades. These are number 8s. Got them in white. That's number 5. You got white, chartreuse. You got Colorado. You got, this is kind of an Indiana type thing. You got them by all different. You got all different finishes. More Colorado. You got hammered. Then you got just plain gold. And you got all kinds of colors. And let's see. See, that's like an Indiana, but that's Colorado. I had an Indiana blade in here somewhere. I don't use Indiana, but that is one. This came off of an old man's spinnerbait. Then you got crazy blades, fluted blades like that. I did a video where I made a spinnerbait step by step, and I'll tack it on at the end of this one when it's done. But so you got number 7 blades, number 5s, you got gold, you got hammered brass, you got big gold blades. Let's see, I had a big old giant number 8 hanging around here somewhere. So, you know, those are number 8 blades. So that's an 8, that's a 7. A lot of people would never dream of throwing a spinnerbait with a blade that big on it. They'll throw a big old giant swim bait or a big giant glide bait, but they won't throw a big spinnerbait. Don't understand it. I caught too many fish on it. It's just too awesome to not use. And again, more blade colors. If you really want to stand out. Way back when, I actually had some that I painted myself because you couldn't buy them. And so also got big number 8 chartreuse. But that's your two main blade types really are willow and Colorado. I mean, you got willow and you got Colorado. Like I say, you've got the Indiana, which, like I say, I don't really use, but you can kind of see the difference in them. And now here's one that you never hear anybody talk about. That one. It's called a turtleback. It's called a magwillow. It's called an Oklahoma blade. But you can kind of see how it's shaped. They give off a lot of thump. I don't understand exactly what it is about it that makes them thump so good, but they thump pretty good. And I probably can't get one out of there because that. There we go. There you go. So that's a little smaller one. But what makes a spinnerbait work, what you want to watch for, it's all about the head weight and the size of the blades in relation to one another. You know, and here's another thing too, what they call deep cup Colorado blades. It'd help if I just had a single blade. There we go. You can't really, the camera doesn't pick it up all that well, but instead of being just kind of flattish, these blades have a real deep cup to them. It makes them grab water better, and it keeps them from rolling over when you wind them real fast. See that, you can see that's defined pretty good in these blades. You can kind of tell when you look at the sides. That big cup right there at the end, that's the best kind of blade you can buy if you're going to buy a Colorado blade. You can put these things on a fairly light spinnerbait and run them fast, and they won't do that in the water, roll over sideways. And it helps them stay upright too, helps them track true. What else we got? That's kind of it. This isn't taking as long as I thought it was. But like I say, you start out, you got your basic kind of heads. You just get whatever heads you want. This right here is a 2-ounce head. This ain't playing right here. That's a 2-ounce. That's 1.5 ounces. That's an ounce. And then you got your little mini-me. You know, if you've got those 4 heads, there's not a situation on the planet you can't fish. If you want to get down really deep and do some ledge fishing with these things, 2 ounces, yeah, you can do it. You can do it real well with these. If you want to go a little bit lighter water, like I say, this is 1 ounce. There's another trick you can do too. If you've got, say like you've got an old 1/2 ounce spinnerbait or a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait and you want to make it heavier, you can get some of these weights right here. Take that rubber core out. You got to open it up just a little bit and stick it on the shaft right there. And if I had a screwdriver handy, I'd open this up and I'd do it. Maybe I can make these little pliers work. But you can take screwdriver would be better, but I don't have a screwdriver handy. Let's see if I can force it on there. Take this rubber thing out. I can't get it open wide enough to do any good. But anyway, you snap it up on there, super glue it first. Drop some super glue in it and on the hook. Put it on there and clamp it. Take a pair of pliers and clamp it down real good. And you've added considerable weight to this spinnerbait. You can do this, like I say, a lot of people have these little 1/2 ounce spinnerbaits everywhere. As long as you've got a shank long enough, You could put that, put your skirt on first, then slide that on there. And you'll catch more fish just doing that. That you know, just because you're going to get that bait down deeper. And these are some old hammered copper blades I used to use a lot. Just don't use them anymore. I'd say nearly all of my fishing is done now with painted blades. I'm either using a white blade or a chartreuse blade. I'll alternate these kicker blades. I usually don't leave these the same color. Whatever I'm using here, I'll use something different up there. But you can see the little beads I was talking about. That's what I use it for. You put one of those on first, you put your clevis on, put a blade on, put your 4 or 5 little beads, just as long as you keep separation between that blade and this so it doesn't interfere. A good ball bearing swivel, and it'll turn for a long time. And that's what you want. And whether you day or night, it don't matter. Seeing that big Colorado blade? The swivel is where it's at. You just want, and you don't have to have a real, I get these from, I think Lure Parts Online. They're, let's see, do I have the bag still? Yeah, there's the bag that I get them. Those are the ones I use right there. It says 19-pound ball bearing swivels, size 4. That looks a little big, but when you put it on a big spinnerbait like this, it doesn't look so big anymore. But you get the little beads. Like I said, I put a little red bead there. You get the blade, red trailer hook, a little red in the skirt. And you will catch a lot of fish. I mean, it's making your own is just fun. And like I say, when you go out and catch an 8-pound bass on one of these things, I've caught, my biggest bass on a spinnerbait was 811. I caught a 16-pound hybrid on one of these. I caught a 10-pound striper on one of these. I've caught catfish, walleye. I've caught brim on them. I've caught just about everything that swims in these friggin' lakes around here. Gar. I mean, everything about a spinnerbait. You just, you adjust your weights and you adjust your blades according to what you want to do. You know, you might want to wind it a little slower in colder water. You know, that's when you could use, I mean, I've made spinnerbaits specifically for doing that. Use a little bit lighter head, bigger blades, wind it slower. I took one of these and put a number, I made it a tandem willow. I used a big number 8, that's number 7, but you get the idea. And another color for the kicker blade, and wound it through that real shallow water, and caught a few big fish on it this year already. Water was, you know, in the real low 50s. I don't know where that big old number 8 blade went. It was around here somewhere. Stuff just disappears right before my eyes. But anyway, you can get you a assortment of heads. Lure Parts Online. I used to get all my stuff in Barlow's, but Barlow's has dropped a lot of stuff. I can't get my big blades there anymore. Lure Parts Online is probably my best source right now. Finding the big heads can be an issue. There was a guy in Texas I used to get mine from. He's still making these, but he's making them with heavier wire. This is 45. He's making them with 51. I like 45 for these. They last a long time. Here's another thing. You see that twist eye? You always want that if you can get it. They don't straighten out quite as bad like these little things do, which makes them wind up broke like that. Yes, they will break eventually. I broke one last week, but my God, I've been using it for a year probably. The big bass hits it, he's not going to straighten it out too bad. It'll happen once in a while, but not very often. So I think that's about all I got. That's my spinnerbait making world. Everything I need right here to make any spinnerbait I want. I got different size heads. I got different size blades, different colors blades. I got all kinds of skirt material. I can make them as fancy or as plain as I want to. I mean, I can make one. I may make one like this. I may make me one all blaze orange. Actually, I did that several years ago and caught one over 5 on it. Everything was like this. Bass, you know, that's another little thing I'm thinking. Bass ain't that picky about color. We're way more picky about color than bass are. We are not bass. What we would hit and what we wouldn't hit is totally irrelevant. I mean, you know, why would a bass hit that? There's nothing in their world that's colored like that. But my God, I've caught hundreds of big bass on that, you know, all chartreuse rig, all white rig, mixture, you know, use a little red kicker blade. So anyway, that's, you know, all you got to do is find the parts, take the time, learn a little bit about it, put it together, and go out and catch yourself some fish. I mean, it's one of the most rewarding things there is in fishing. Go catch a giant fish on something you made, you drew up, you designed, you created. That's about as good as it gets. And while these ain't spinner baits, but these are my buzzbait blades. I make my own buzzbaits too. It's nothing, it ain't hard. It's just, it's obscenely simple. I had one laying here. Here it is. Wrong, it ain't either. I don't know where it went. Who cares? But, oh, here it is, right here under my nose. This is the only buzzbait I use. I only use white. I use these blades on it. The trailer hook, little lame blade don't matter. But that's the only buzzbait I use. If I'm going to be out in open water, I'll just tie on a big old whopper plopper and go with it. You can throw a whopper plopper farther. I can throw it on braid. I get a better hook set. I can throw this on braid, which I do. But you get a better hook set, but you can just cover more water, and it's a lot easier to throw than a buzzbait. But I think that's it. So I'll go edit this down. I'll put the video of me actually making a spinnerbait from scratch. I'll put it on there too, and somebody can maybe get some use out of this, start making their own spinnerbaits and have some fun. And also the spinnerbait, the skirt that I made just a minute ago, you can also buy skirt material like this. You can buy jig heads and make your own jigs. It's simple. I mean, you can get any kind of color under the sun. You can add colors to it. I mean, just buy you whatever size jig head you want, what weight, see what kind of hook style it's got if that's what you want. Buy you some jig heads, get you some skirts, and just make your own. They're stupidly easy to make. They're 10 times easier to make than a spinnerbait. So the only thing I would recommend doing to a jig that you buy is the fiber weed guard is real stiff. A lot of times I'll take them and I'll cut about half of the bristles off of it to make it where it doesn't take so much force to bend it down and expose the hook. But anyway, that's that. So we'll get this done, and peace a lot, K. Live long and prosper and see all that stuff. All right, this is how we build a spinnerbait. We got the body. We're gonna take one bead, put it on the shaft. Then we're gonna take a clevis, put one in on the shaft. We're gonna make a tandem willow, which is a small Colorado and a big willow. In this case, we're gonna use a number 7 willow. All right, so we got the clevis and the Colorado blade on. So we're going to take these little beads and use about 4 of them. And now I got to get one more because I didn't get enough. And there's that, and I have a little red bead. I just like a little touch of red here and there. All right, so we got all of those on. So now we take the end of the wire and we bend it in a little loop. And once we get that done, we take swivel, good ball bearing swivel, and our big number 7 blade. And we got to work around to get the split ring opened up where we want it. And then we work the split ring around the blade. Well, we tried to. That one kind of backfired. So let's try it again. We missed. All right, now we got that on, so now we take the swivel, hang it on the little loop that we made, and we take our pliers and close that gap, because you don't want the whole shooting match coming off. All right, so we got that. Now we're going to take this skirt. You notice one's longer than the other, one side, so we want the long end. That's the one we want to feed our hook through. And we got that. So when you hang it, it's all kind of even. All right, now we're going to use a trailer hook. So we got a trailer hook, number 3 Gamakatsu. We got a little piece of plastic tubing. We kind of wet the eye of the hook and then force it up on there. Then we take that, and then we're going to push the trailer hook on there. All right, now, we don't ever want it to come off. So we have a little plastic tab. You can get like a coffee can lid and a hole punch. And then you take that and you feed that. And this is about the most aggravating part of the whole process. You feed that through. This one's really going to be difficult. Feed it over the barb, and there you go. And that's it.